Tiny little bumps.
Hello, my friends. Nintendo just surprised us with a Nintendo Direct Mini because of course they did. Because of course they did. Because of course the most obvious thing for them to do was the least obvious thing to do because they're the kings of left field. Of course we got a mini Direct. When we're all sitting here dying for announcements and dying for a big giant something or other, of course they're just like, surprise, you know? Of course, after we're waiting for the announcement, we don't get an announcement. They just throw it right at our faces, smack us right in the side of the head. Here's the Direct! Blah! So you might have heard in my discussion video, if you did watch it, that I had another sort of theory about the holiday title for this year. And I'm here now to give you that theory. I decided it should be its own kind of discussion video just because I've got a lot to say about it. So here's the thing. Here's my theory. Whenever Nintendo did get around to giving us a Direct of some kind at this part of the year, I was under the assumption that they had to have a holiday title to reveal. Because, as I've gone on about many, many times before, their big titles always have a big chunk of time between reveal and release. Sometimes there are some exceptions. Obviously, smaller titles don't have as much of a gap. Sports titles and party titles and ports and stuff like that, they can just go a few months. Bigger titles, it's almost always like more than half a year, like a good 9 months. One game that illustrates this very well is Smash Ultimate. It was revealed in, I think it was a March Direct, and then released in, in the holiday time. But that's how it works. Big titles take a lot of time between reveal and release, and no title in the year is as big as a holiday release. So I figured this right here was the last chance for them to reveal a brand new game that we know nothing about, and still have time to release it this holiday, because otherwise we don't know what's coming this holiday. Now, there's always the chance they could reveal something in June and release it on the holiday. It's possible. Nintendo can do whatever they want, but I'm going by their past record here. You know, maybe they revealed Super Mario Odyssey 2 in June, release it in November. I just don't see that happening because it never really happens. Obviously, it can. Just because something hasn't happened doesn't mean it won't happen. But that's the angle that I'm coming at right here. Because, as I've talked about before, I even made a whole video about it. What is even possible out of games that have not been revealed? What's possible? What could Nintendo put all their cards on for holiday title? Mario? Why would they wait? Why would they not take the opportunity to tell us this now and let us be hyped the whole year? Why would they have an unusually small time before reveal and release if they wait till June? So that doesn't seem likely. Mario Kart, I've said, okay, Mario Kart, I could see that having a little bit less time between reveal and release, but why would they wait? And also, I don't think we're getting a new Mario Kart. I could be wrong, but I just don't think so. Obviously, there's no new Pokemon this year. Smash is already out. Animal Crossing is already out. So that just leaves one option. A game that we already know about. And obviously, out of all of the games that we already know about, there is only one that meets the criteria for a holiday game, and that is obviously Zelda. It's the only one that fits. And also, usually if you look at their past, you'll see that whenever a game does get a sequel or just another one on the same console, they don't usually come out at the same exact time of year, at least for direct sequels. I know like Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword were both holiday titles, but then if you look at Mario Galaxy 1 and 2, if you look at Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask, if you look at Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, they almost never put them in the exact same slot. They'll have one for the holiday and one for the spring or something. So, if you look at Breath of the Wild, the first game came out in the spring, or, late winter, whatever it was. It came out in March. Therefore, putting Breath of the Wild 2 as a holiday title would be new for Zelda on the Switch. That would be a brand new place to put the big Zelda title. Zelda has not enjoyed a place as a holiday title yet. Now, you may remember I was once very, very doubtful that Breath of the Wild 2 would come in 2020. I thought, logically, they should be able to put out a Zelda game that soon, but I was really, really focusing on the trailer at the end of the Breath of the Wild 2 trailer. It says now in development. It didn't say 2020. And almost always, at least from what I can remember, when Nintendo says in development, that means not this year and not next year. That means it's gonna be a while. Because it's easy for them to just give a window. It's easy for them to just be like, next year. And then if it gets delayed, then they can delay it. You know, that was Animal Crossing. They said 2019, and then they were like, okay, we need a little more time, gets delayed into 2020. That's fine. But they at least got to get us hyped up for it. You know, they still got to earn the hype by telling us it was coming in 2019, and I feel like that would be the case here. Why would they not say 2020 for Breath of the Wild? But now that I have had all of this, now that I've seen all of this other evidence, I'm starting to doubt my conclusion there, simply because that is the only thing, that is the only singular thing that is, you know, that's the only monkey wrench in the works. It's the only piece of evidence that suggests that it won't come in 2020, whereas everything else, all of the evidence is just, it's mounting. It is mounting up very high now. And again, as I've said before, the original game, like, once they built the tools, once they figured out, like, how the game worked and all that, it only took them a few years to build the actual game, to build Hyrule and come up with a story and essentially make the game. So obviously now they have all of those tools and everything already. They have all of the assets and all the concepts and the physics and everything. So you would think it would only take them another couple years to make another game. And releasing at the end of this year fits completely, because it was last E3, last June, that they revealed the game. So that would mean that by the end of this year, that's a good, like, almost year and a half after revealing it. And it's obvious, based on the trailer, that they had a pretty darn good idea about what they were doing already. You know, this wasn't just a vague, it's in development, it's gonna happen. No, like, we saw, basically, like a story trailer. We saw some very specific stuff happening. It's clear at that time they knew what they were doing. They had a plan. They knew what the plot was. They knew what all the ideas were going to be. So they had probably been working on it for a good amount of time up to that point in order to show us something so concrete. And so now, again, we're looking at almost a year and a half later, and over 3.5 years from the release of 1. Is it possible that they didn't get started for a while because they were working on the DLC? It's a little bit hard for me to believe. The DLC was good, but it wasn't that big a thing. It didn't seem like the sort of thing that the entire team was focusing on, you know what I mean? It was a little bit fillery. I enjoyed it. It wasn't everything it could have been. It would be hard for me to believe that they waited a whole year before getting started on the next game because of the DLC. So that would mean over 3.5 years to work on it, which is completely in line with the amount of time it took them to put together the first one. So everything here makes sense. And, like, if they had announced something else at this Direct, you know, if it was a regular Direct or they just had some, you know, what if it was Mario Kart or Super Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, then sure. But now, like, none of those make sense announcing in June and then releasing in, you know, November or whatever. Zelda is the only one that fits because it has already been announced. Even if we only got a little bit of, you know, we didn't even get any solid details, it was still announced. So the clock between reveal and release has been ticking this entire time. It's been ticking since June. And so just timeline-wise, it makes perfect sense to reveal the trailer, give us a little taste of what the story is going to be like, then one entire year later, give us the full reveal. Give us the title, give us the gameplay, all the new concepts and everything for release that holiday. It only makes sense. It's the only game that does make sense. No other game makes as much sense. No other series makes as much sense. I mean, again, it's possible Super Mario Odyssey 2 would be a plenty good holiday title, but they've already had a Mario game as a holiday title before. Why would they wait so long to reveal it? Why would there be such a short amount of time between? It's either Mario or Mario Kart. But I just don't see them happening. Zelda's the only one that works. Am I crazy here? Am I looking way too far into this? Are they gonna just reveal something totally wacky at E3 and I'll just be proven completely wrong? I don't really know, but, like, at this stage, like, I was already starting to suspect that Breath of the Wild 2 would be the holiday title, but now that mini direct was what did it. The fact that they didn't reveal any sort of big new holiday game, that sealed the deal for me. That is what did it. to me, that is really solid evidence. So I'm doing that thing where I go out on a limb, and you know what? Me going way out on a limb usually ends with a branch snapping and me falling and hurting my leg. But I'm doing it. I am putting a lot of faith in this theory, this prediction. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, or whatever it's going to be called, is going to be the holiday title for 2020. And you know what? If it is, then 2020 will look a little bit better, for sure. Like, okay, then it's like the major games are Animal Crossing and Zelda. So we got like, you know, 2 pretty major ones, whereas, you know, like 2018 was a little disappointing because it felt like Smash was the only major one. Although then Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee ended up being more major than I expected. So I don't know. It still did seem like a lot of year went by without a lot of big stuff though. So hey, Animal Crossing, Zelda would be good, and then you got, you know, Bravely Default 2, and you've got Xenoblade and Pokemon DLC, and it's still like the pacing is still not great, and it's still not keeping up the pace that I feel like Nintendo should be able to, but it still would not be bad. It would not be bad to get 2, you know, at least on a personal level. For me, I mean, like, obviously for some people, Xenoblade is just as big as anything. You know, just like a remake of a game that I love would be really big for me. So even just personally, Animal Crossing and Zelda would make for not a bad year. Not the best year in the world, but hey, not bad. But tell me what you think. Like, is this making as much sense to you as it does to me? Like, are you feeling like this is the only possible outcome? Or am I still just kind of, I don't know, still just kind of throwing guesses out there, and I'll probably be wrong because I'm always wrong. I don't really know. Let me know down in the comments. Are you excited to play The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2? Let me know in the comments too. Obviously, it's Zelda, man. I know you're excited. Actually, I don't know you're excited. Not everybody liked the first Breath of the Wild. Whatever, I'm rambling now. I love you. Have a good day. And I will see you at E3 for the big Breath of the Wild 2 announcement. I will see you probably sooner than that too. I'm not going to stop making videos for the next 3 months, but you get what I mean. Goodbye.